I'm just going to give you an example of kind of what I'm looking for the Unit 2 Activity 3 media assignment. I have used the graphic novel Mouse, which is my favorite graphic novel. It's about a gentleman who survives the Holocaust. There are many different ways that you can organize yourself when analyzing a text. I like Ryback. I'll do another video on how to use Ryback to analyze texts. You should include a thesis. Like this image, Vladek's psyche has been ripped across and stitched back together. You can see how Vladek the character here is drawn across 3 different frames, and how it appears like the panels are all holding together. His current identity is very much shaped by the Holocaust, where the traits which he believes enabled him to survive became part of his core being. This has manifested itself into a person who is a perfectionist, emotionally distant, and resourceful. So he is a perfectionist, and this is my point. Vladek believes that there is no room for mistake. A mistake during the Holocaust would have cost him his life. This is carried forward into his personality 30 years later. He believes by counting every pill, he leaves no room for error with regards to his health. If you look at the image, you can see that Vladek is counting out pills from the bottle. And not just one bottle, but he breaks them into daily portions. 14, 15 different pills, and he's taking 25 or 30 different vitamins each day. Furthermore, he's in his house. And although he's in his house, he's wearing a suit jacket. You have to wonder, why would someone in their house be wearing such formal attire? And it shows, it testifies to his perfectionist character. Everything has to look just so, even himself. And not just any suit jacket, but one that has square lines on it and is very uniform in design, showing that once again he likes to be in control and a perfectionist. He's also very emotionally distant. Vladek remains emotionally distant during the Holocaust as a way to prevent him from trusting other people. Trusting other people could mean that you die. No one had any idea who might turn you into the Nazis for their own personal gain or to themselves. As a result, Vladek remains emotionally distant from even the closest family members like his son. If we look at the image here, we can see that there is a long table between Vladek and his son Art. The long table is a symbolic representation of the long distance between them. This is exaggerated more so by how both of them, despite having a conversation about Vladek's life, are leaning away from one another, suggesting that they are not close. This is even further enhanced with the idea of the lines, how the lines are drawn across each character, moving away from one another, suggesting that both Art and Vladek are emotionally distant from one another. Vladek is incredibly resourceful, and he believes that it is his own resourcefulness and even willingness to do what others won't that enables him to survive the Holocaust. Despite it being a cold day, Vladek decides to go for a bath to clean himself. And he says many others got frostbite wounds, and the wound was pus, and the pus was lice. And he believes, despite the fact that he would go and wash, that's what kept him clean and allowed him to survive. But if we look, we have to ask ourselves, why is he so far away from his comrades? And this is supposed to represent how he is different than everybody else, how he is willing to do something where others will not. And that's what separates him from others and allowed him to survive where others did not. At least that's what Vladek believes. In conclusion, Vladek is very much still trapped in the horrors of the Holocaust. This is most evident in his last dying words, recalling his son Art Rishu, the name of his son who died during the Holocaust. And this shows just how trapped he really was from the horrors of the Holocaust, and how it really defined who he was and how he used those horrors to create his own identity.